Alright, good morning. Hello everyone. I'm Alan Thrall here in my garage. This is my new and improved garage gym setup. So I'm going to walk you through all of this stuff that you're seeing. It looks like a lot, and it is a lot. It looks a bit chaotic, but that's because everything is set up to go right now. But I'm going to explain it all now. This is a huge improvement from what my garage gym used to look like, which was just a rusty old barbell, some scattered plates, and a pair of squat stands. I didn't use my home gym that much at that time. A company sent me a new rack with some cable pull downs, and I did a review of it like a month or two ago. Bells of Steel saw that video, reached out to me and said, hey Alan, we can do a lot better than that. And I said, okay. And before you know it, all this stuff was sent to me. Almost all of this stuff. And I know what you're thinking, dang Alan, you need to check your YouTube privilege. So I'm going to do that real quick. Let's see here. Yep, it's still there. So let's do a quick review. I'll talk about the good and some of the bad about all of this stuff. And I think I'm going to switch lenses to a wider lens here. So give me a second. All right, so this is the Hydra Rack series. So if we start right in the middle, we got our squat rack. This is a 3x3 inch squat rack. The same steel, the same kind of powder coat, same quality that you're going to find from Rogue Fitness. And I just mentioned Rogue because I have a lot of experience using Rogue. I've got a lot of Rogue products, and they're kind of considered industry standard. This is just as good as Rogue, actually better, because we got these numbers in the rack, which make it really convenient to make sure you're got everything even. It even comes with stickers I didn't use that you can put on to say, this is where I'm at for squat, this is where I'm at for bench, etc. The J cups, since we're here, very nice. They got the flat spot, which is good. Plastic here, good J cups. The pull-up bar, the multi-grip or the neutral grip pull-up bar, this is going to be the first criticism I have. The bar works great. However, the powder coating is just too smooth. Nothing that some athletic tape can't fix, which I did here. I still need to tape the rest of the bar. I've just been doing neutral grip pull-ups. But this powder coating feels a little bit more gritty, and it'd be nice if this same finish here. Although it could just be oily because it's new and maybe it needs some chalk, I don't know. But I know that at Untamed Strength I have some powder coated handlebars or pull-up bars that do not require tape. They're grippy as is, so I guess that would be the only improvement that could be made on this pull-up bar. So this is a 24-inch deep rack, meaning it comes out 24 inches from the wall, 24 inch here. You can get 30, you can get 36 inches, I believe. Don't have the website studied, but I think that's what you can get. Now, I liked having the shorter rack just because it's a little more low profile, doesn't stick out as far. However, because I have all these attachments in the back that I'll talk about, you can't use the inside of the rack. So you have to use the outside of the rack the way it's set up right now. So I have to squat outside of the rack facing the wall, bench outside of the rack. I imagine if I didn't have all those attachments, I would be able to lift inside of the rack facing out. So if you are pressed for space, that'd be a good option. Something to consider. Safeties here, as you can see on the outside of the rack. And then if you look on each side of the rack, you'll see some posts. Everything here is connected. So the squat rack goes out to this lat pull down. Down here, same thing. So it's all one beast setup. So if we go to the left, we've got a lat pull down, a beautiful lat pull down machine. It is selectorizer, so it's not plate loaded. This is huge. This thing goes to 310 pounds. It's also got these band peg attachments. You can attach bands here. It's got this pin here that you can load plates onto. If I was to max the whole stack out and need more weight, I could add plate here. Also, I could add a 5 because these are 10-pound jumps, and I could put a 5 or a 2.5 if I wanted to kind of micro load my lat pull downs. This is a very smooth lat pull down. I noticed that doing lat pull downs, whether with that grip or with the neutral grip, the weight actually feels pretty even to my body weight on the pull-up bar. You know, if it's about 200 to 210 pounds versus 210 pound pull-ups, slow and controlled pull-ups, it's pretty even. Even with all the pulleys and all that, feels very smooth. Down here is a seated row. Now this is actually taken apart right now, I should say. There are There's a plate that goes here that covers all that, and there's wheels. When I used it for the first time with actual weight in my workout, it was really noisy, and I thought, why is it making so much noise?
Welcome to our learning farm. We have lots to share with you.
I noticed that two of the wheels were rubbing together. So I contacted Bells of Steel, told them about this. Still waiting to figure out what the problem was. I could very well be in the wrong here. Maybe I used the wrong wheels at some point. I set it up incorrectly, not really sure, trying to get their help with that. So anyways, this seated row, I gotta say they did it right. The last seated row with the last rack that I had, I never used. It was very difficult to use because when I put my feet here against the plate on the old machine, the cable is already mid-shin, almost at my knees. So it's this very small range of motion. With this foot plate, this telescoping foot plate, I can actually reach forward. So if you've ever done a seated row, you know that you like to reach forward, use a little bit of lower back, and then finish with the upper back pull. So this is really nice as far as the setup. They got it right. Okay, now let's go over to the right. This is a cable tower. What's the difference between a cable tower and a lat pull down? Well, the stack is a little bit smaller. This one goes to 210 instead of 310. And this is for tricep press downs, V-bar press downs, maybe bring it down and do some cable side raises, some curls, things like that. So that's what the cable tower is for. And we will move over to the plates, I suppose. So I've got these pins that put the plates on the back of the rack. You don't have to have all this. You can use the inside of the rack and just put these on a weight tree, but I like not having a weight tree on the ground. I like to have the garage fairly open, and I don't like a bunch of clutter on the ground, even though I do have some. So getting these up off the ground, very nice. Also, this is pretty even to a barbell, so I can just kind of pull it off, put it on the bar, put it right back. Let's talk about these plates. So some of these plates, well, I should say all these plates were sent to me. The bumper plates were not. I already had these Bells of Steel bumper plates. The plates, I've got 45s, 25s, 35s, 10s, 5s, 2.5s. The plates do exactly what they should. This is, I'm sure this is 25 pounds. This probably weighs 35 pounds. These weigh 45 pounds, 10, so on. The one thing I'll say about these plates, it's just total preference and it's totally aesthetic. I don't like painted plates. I think it looks cheap, and I think it's kind of useless. I know that it's to preserve the plate so that it doesn't get weathered or rusted being in your garage. I don't care about that. I got these York cast iron plates. I'm not going to pull off the rack, but they're fine. Yeah, they look like they're used, but I'm okay with that. You can even see here that there's already a chip, which again I don't really care about. But I just don't like the painted look. But they're still good plates. They're not super thick plates, which is nice. They do have an edge, which makes them easier to handle. And they are to standard. So these York plates are actually a hair smaller than normal calibrated plates at Untamed Strength. So you can see that these are the correct size. These are a little bit small. So they are the correct height that a 45 should be. And then these are some bumpers that I had, these Bells of Steel bumpers. Now, because I'm over here, let's look at, this is the lighting on this, I'm sure is not great. So we got an attachment here for some miscellaneous things, belt attachment. This is an Untamed Strength belt. You can get this on generalleathercraft.com. The actual Untamed Strength blood splatter belt. You can even get whatever you want on the inside. Here I have an American flag on the inside. This, 90% of people are going to get a 4-inch, 10mm belt. I prefer the single prong. You can also get this in a lever belt if you like. But you can get this exact belt, Pioneer Fitness, generalleathercraft.com. You can also get some knee sleeves, Pioneer knee sleeves. These are my favorite. Some position weightlifting shoes. I got my Bluetooth speaker here. My General Leathercraft leather straps. I love leather straps more than I like cloth straps. I think the bite on the bar is so much better on with leather, especially when they're used, than with cloth. So I prefer the leather straps. Got some liquid chalk up there. This was a drawing by my grandfather, who was a cartoonist. I think it was, I don't remember the year, 1952 or something like that. Pretty cool. So keep that in the garage. All right, let's see, where are we going from here? Let's go over to, all right, let's talk about these. Dip attachment. Don't need to say much more than that. This goes right on the inside, the outside or the inside of the rack. This thing is pretty sweet. This is a chest supported pad for chest supported rows, rear delt flies, chest supported whatever you want. And this moves up and down, so the plate or the chest pad can be more or less inclined. I also use this for one-arm dumbbell preacher curls because I don't have a preacher curl bench here. Come on, yeah. Oh, easy. Come on, one more. Oh yes. This is the shirt that Bells of Steel sent me. Is it my size? Yes or no? Comment below. Good for arm day, right? I don't know how to pose. How's that look? So I'll talk about this. This was not sent to me. I bought this. This is the Bells of Steel bone saw incline bench, I believe it is. And I bought this using the link from Bald Albie Man's YouTube channel. He's always actually sitting on this when he does his videos, and he's always talking it up. So I thought I need to get a Bells of Steel incline bench for my home gym now. Very nice bench, very solid bench, good dense pad, wide pad, very grippy pad. This is pretty similar to a Thompson fat pad. It's just not as thick this way. But very, very good bench. Highly recommend it. It's also heavy enough that it doesn't slide. So when I'm benching and if I'm using a lot of leg drive and pushing, it's not going to slide across the mats, which I can't say about other incline benches. I think the only thing that would be nice to have is some like big rubber feet so that it is even stickier. I don't know who drills their incline bench into the ground, especially because it has wheels so that it's movable. But yeah, maybe some rubber feet would make this a little bit better. But I don't need them. It works for me. Back here, now that I just saw it, I've got my TRX straps. I like to do push-ups with these. I need to get some rings for my home gym, but I just attach it here, do some push-ups. Sometimes I'll do weighted push-ups with these straps. Okay. Now for the bad. Some of the bad. Two things. These are monolift attachments. So these act just like J cups. You put your barbell in it. I have both on the same side. One of them should be over on this side here. I don't know what the problem is. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. But the way these work, you place a barbell on the rack in the cup. It's supposed to, the weight of the bar should swing out. Well, they're too close right now. The weight of the bar should swing out. And then when you unrack the bar, it snaps back in position. So you can unrack the bar without having to walk the bar out if you're doing squats. You don't have to walk the bar out if you're doing Romanian deadlifts. And you don't have to unrack the bar and pull it out if you're doing bench press. So it's like having a spotter bring the weight out for you. However, I don't know what the problem is here, but they are so damn heavy. To pull that out, I put on 315, and the weight of that 315 kind of makes it go out about here. So you can't lift up without hitting this. You need it to move all the way out here so that there's clearance to stand up. Monolift attachments, I have monolift attachments at Untamed Strength. The barbell, the empty bar should be enough to swing it out so you can unrack it. These are like unusable. The spring in here is way too strong. There's way too much tension. I thought maybe these bolts were too tight. They're not. So I don't know what the problem is here, but these I'm not using. This thing here, I'm not going to set this up because it's just too big and cumbersome, but this is a rack attachment, leg extension, leg curl. So you sit on that pad, I'll show a video, you sit on the pad, you do leg extensions. You can flip this pad up and then put your hips against the pad and do a reverse leg curl also. This thing does not feel great. So the first half of the movement has zero resistance. It feels like you're moving air. It's like doing leg extensions on a reverse hyper. It just doesn't make sense. There's a little bit of contraction at the very top, but the movement, the strength curve is so off on this. I think that it was a good design on paper, but not in practice. And I already dislike, I'm not crazy about leg machines. I'd rather just front squat, Romanian deadlift, and do lunges than leg extensions anyways. But this thing just didn't work for me. It was not clicking. I'm not sure what the problem is. I think I do have a plate loaded leg extension, leg curl at Untamed Strength, and that works great. I think that the reason is where you sit on the bench, the pad that goes across your feet is slightly behind your knees. So you already start with this knee flexed position, so there's some weight immediately. Also, the weight is not loaded at the side of your legs, it is loaded on top of your legs. So when you have 90 pounds on the peg, the loadable peg, it's right above your shins. So 90 pounds feels like 90 pounds when you're pressing. This design, I'm sorry, it just didn't work for me. Not crazy about it, probably not gonna use it. I see some more safeties down here. So these are safeties, they're not bells of steel safeties, but these are short safeties that can fit inside of the rack. These safeties, I found out, do not fit inside of the rack, they're too long. So those safeties are shorter, they fit inside of the rack, which means I could use this rack on the inside if these plates weren't here. But it's really nice for things that I do low, like if I do rack pulls or power shrugs, I can just do them inside of the rack and have the outside of the rack be used for anything else that I'm doing. Making our way over here to some attachments. We got their clips, conveniently built-in magnets so that you never misplace your clips. These handles, these are not bells of steel handles. I don't know where these things came from. A neighbor gave them to me. This looks like farm equipment. These are so old. These are the handles that Eugene Sandow used to get jacked. And I've got the same style V-bar. Look at this thing. That's like a deadly weapon. Neutral grip pull down. And then the rack comes with some pegs that I'm using for extra carabiners and chains, some bands, more collars. These are all insert to keep this stuff, like the safeties in place and all that kind of stuff. Bars. So I've got an easy bar. This is not a bells of steel bar. Hello. I'm here to work on your neck, traps, shoulders. Just a crappy old easy bar. This barbell is not bells of steel. They sent me a barbell and it was way too nice. It exceeded my expectations. It's like in the $200 range, which is cheap. And it's just as good, if not better, than an Ohio power bar, which is industry standard for power bars. The power bar they sent me had very, very aggressive knurling, and it had a thin edge to the sleeve to allow more space for plates, and it was a ribbed sleeve to prevent sliding around of the plates if you weren't using collars. So very, very nice bar. I didn't want to keep it for myself in the home gym. Brought it to Untamed Strength. These are loadable handles, loadable dumbbells by Gungner. I've done a review of these already. I'll link that video. So I put the plates on here, and it has, see if I can do this with one hand without these falling on me. It has a built-in collar rail system. Now, these are very smooth, very sweet, but the plates that you use have to have very tight holes, baby. So if, for whatever reason, just based on the manufacturer, the circumference of the hole on some plates are wider, narrower. It's just a different diameter. So if you have accurately measured a good calibrated hole, then these work really well. However, some plates that you use, like plates that I have from the gym, are too big, and so they'll just slide right over this collar because this is such a low profile. Now with that said, whoa, these plates, nice and tight holes. They fit really well on this. However, I still use a collar to double up because when I'm doing stuff like lat pullovers, dumbbell pullovers, yeah, I'm trusting these things with my life, bringing them over my face like that. Got the American flag back there. So real quick, if you are displaying an American flag in your gym, in your home gym, garage, and it's vertical like this, the stars go to the left. If you have your stars to the right, the flag's backwards. Just something nice to know. It's an honest mistake if you do have your flag backwards. Anything else to talk about here? So this is a 50-pound dumbbell that I use it for warm-ups for dumbbell pullovers mainly. Maybe warm-ups for dumbbell rows before loading up those handles. And then I just got some real cheap Marcy 25s, 30s, and some small stuff down there. And a foam roller that I do not use. And this, probably my favorite dumbbell. I'm still training at Untamed Strength as often as possible, but just recently I've just found myself having to be at home a lot more. Just family obligations. The universe kind of came together and this stuff was sent to me at a perfect time. So I can do all of my programming without any adjustments in my garage if I need to. I still like training Untamed at the gym, but this is very convenient to have this full setup. And I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to just walk out at 5 a.m., do my workout, and then carry on about my day. I asked the guys at Bells of Steel, like, why should anyone do business with you? Why wouldn't they just, what's wrong with the stuff that I reviewed? And he had mentioned that this rack is actually $140 cheaper, $140 or $120 cheaper than the rack that I got previously. There's infinite customizability here. You can get different widths, different depths, different heights based on the size of your garage. You can get shorter, you can get taller than what I've got here. These are 3x3 racks, so any attachments you already have, maybe from Rogue Fitness or something like that, will go onto this rack. The previous company I reviewed does all its operations in China, so you're dealing with customer service, with products, with operations, everything coming from China. They have, their staff is in Indianapolis, Calgary, Toronto. So a lot of good things to say about this stuff. I would highly recommend it. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them down below. Maybe if Bells of Steel YouTube channel, which I know is still pretty active, sees it, they can answer some of the questions down in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and always remember, tread on time.